Hey guys, and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock tutorial with me, Only Eggnog. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to build a super fast XP farm using the Potion of Infestation in the new 1.21 update. Now, I have seen a bunch of these farms already made, but I have made mine fully automatic. That way, all you have to do is press this button, flick that lever, and just sit here. This farm will give you 30 levels in about 30 seconds, and it is super customizable. Overall, this farm is just great, so let's get into the tutorial. Just so you know, there will be a materials list down in the description. To start off, you're going to find a relatively flat area, and you're going to build a 4x4 square, just as I am doing here. You're going to want to fill that square in as well. And right here, you're going to place another block extending out with a slab on top of that block. Then place a ladder on the side of that block. And come to this square, you're going to place a piston here, then turn, place one here, turn, place one here, turn one more time, and place one here. And then you're going to place blocks between all those pistons. Then come to here, break this block, replace it with a stair, and put water in that stair. Then break these two blocks, place a glass block here, and the lectern here facing that way. Next, what you want to do is place blocks on top of all the pistons, and droppers in each of the corners. And then you're going to fill in the remaining spots with observers facing into the blocks, and their face should be at the droppers, just like that. Then place a lever on this dropper, flick it once, and then flick it one more time, and this should be infinitely going. You go ahead and turn that off. Now I want to come over here, place a glass block here, with an upper slab coming out of the side, and then a campfire on top. You're going to want to go ahead and extinguish that campfire with a shovel or some water. Then you're going to place a magma block on top of this block and this observer, and then a normal block on top of this observer and this dropper. Then you're going to fill in the rest of the gaps with glass. Next, you're going to want to surround this campfire with blocks going about 3 blocks high, just as I've done there. Then fill in these gaps to create a nice platform, and then create walls around this platform. You're going to want to make this wall 3 blocks high as well, and finish that off with a nice ceiling. You will want to break a hole at the top of that ceiling, and then place a staircase coming all the way down to the floor. Just like that. Then real quickly, coming here, place a normal piston facing downward with a lever on that. You also want to place a block under that piston that is facing to the front of the farm. So if I come outside the farm, that stair is facing to where this front is. And you also want a stair here facing to the right of the farm. And actually, this stair here, you're going to need to quickly break and replace with the block, and then you're going to place that 1 block higher. Your next step is to find an allay, and you can easily do that by finding a pillager outpost, and if you look into one of the cages, there may be an allay in there. What you're going to want to do is lead an allay by crouching and clicking on it with a lead, and you're going to take it out and lead it all the way back to the farm. You also want to make sure that you've given this allay an item, and you're going to come to your stairs, and you're just going to slowly bring it up and fall into here. If you're having a hard time getting your allay in, just throw a bunch of blocks at that corner, and they should run over to it. Once they're in, you're going to block off the hole and unlead the allay. Next, what you want to do is place down your jukebox and place a music disc in that. And that way, if you give an allay an Amythest Shard, it will reproduce and it will duplicate. You want to give this next allay an item as well. Now, you can duplicate them as many times as you want, but it really depends on your device. If you have a lower end device, I recommend having 3 or 4 allays, but a higher end, you can go higher. It's best to test this out in a creative copy, just to make sure your game doesn't lag out. But anyway, once you've gotten all your allays, and you've given them all items, you can go ahead and break the jukebox. And then your next step is to lure all the allays into that hole. You can do this by throwing items into it. You might also want to start blocking off areas so it's easier for them to get into the hole. And once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and flick this lever once, place a block, flick it again, then place 1 more block and flick it 1 more time, and then you should see all the allays set on top of the campfire. You're going to want to break this block and place a trapdoor under it, and same with this block. And these 2 blocks here, you're going to want to break and place a dispenser in their place, just as I've done. And then you can go ahead and break this entire thing, including the staircase. Next, you're going to come to these droppers. You're going to come to this one on the side, place a hopper funneling into it with a double chest coming out this way, just as I've done. Then come to this one at the back side, place a hopper funneling this way onto the magma block. Now on top of that, you're going to place a barrel. Now what you're going to do is you're going to place 2 solid blocks here and fill in the rest of the gaps with glass blocks. Next, you can come to this side of the farm and place ladders coming all the way up. That will just give you easy access to go back up and down. Next, you want to throw in a bunch of Impaling 5 Tridents. What I recommend doing is for each Allay that you have, you want 4 Tridents in this farm. So because I have about 3 Allays in there, I'm going to put in 12 Tridents. And that's all of them in. And once you flick this lever, they should all go off, and that creates your Trident killer for this farm. Next, you're going to come up here, place a block right there, and also crouch and place an observer facing into this stair. Then place 3 solid blocks coming down this way. Then coming off of this last block, you're going to place 3 blocks here as I have done. Break this block. Then place 2 blocks here, 3 here, an additional 2 there. You can go ahead and break these 2 blocks. You can then go ahead and place 2 hoppers funneling into each other, as I've done there. Their nozzles should be pointing into each other. Then you're going to want a redstone comparator coming out of that one and that one, with a piece of redstone dust on top of each of those blocks. Then you want a piston on top of those comparators, just as I've done there, with a block of redstone on that piston. Then come down here, you're going to place a block there with a button on the block. Place a torch on top of that block and a block above the torch. Finally, place one more torch on top of that block. That torch should be toggled off. Next, place 2 solid blocks here, with 2 extending out this way. You can go ahead and break that block. Place 4 pieces of redstone dust where I have there, and then a redstone repeater on top of that dispenser. Next, come over here, place 2 temporary blocks and an observer facing downwards towards this dispenser. You can break these 2 blocks and create a staircase of redstone leading to that dispenser. Right here, we're going to have a redstone repeater. And actually, this block of redstone needs to be 1 block lower, so it needs to be like that. Next, place a block here with a copper bulb here. You're going to want to go ahead and wax that copper bulb. You're also going to want to place a button here to turn that copper bulb on. You go ahead and break the button. Next, place a comparator here with a piece of redstone right there. And now you can put a stack in 50 of any item you want into this hopper clock. It shouldn't be doing anything because this redstone line is locking it. Next, place 3 blocks in the shape I have. Break this block here. And under those 2 blocks, you want 2 observers facing downwards. You may have to break through to get these observers to face down, and then you're going to want to break those 2 blocks. Next, place a copper bulb here with a comparator coming out of it and a solid block there. Place 2 pieces of redstone dust and a repeater on 3 ticks. Now come down here, place a block on top of the lever with a button on the side of that block. Place a torch on top of that block with an observer facing into here. Place a piece of redstone there. And finally, place a trapdoor in front of the observer and flip it up. Then you can go ahead, come into here and place a bucket of water. What we've done so far is made the toggle switch for the farm, the redstone clock that'll keep the Allays from dying, and the water dispensing mechanism. Next, you place 2 more glass blocks there. Then you can come over here, place an observer that is facing into this repeater with a dispenser on top of that observer and a button on top of the dispenser. Next, starting at this there, create an L shape of glass that leads all the way to that observer, and also place 3 glass where I have here and 1 going down and another one coming off of that. Then place 4 pieces of glass here and 2 pieces of glass there. You also want to make sure you have an additional glass block there. You then go ahead and place your lava bucket into that dispenser. What this is a timer that'll give the Allays a 5-second cooldown to regenerate all their health before they're set back on fire. You can then come to this side of the farm and just finish your ladder tower. That way you have full access to the top. Now we're going to build a timer for the potions. So you're going to come to this side of the farm, place 2 blocks extending out this way, break the temporary block, and also a block here. Coming into this block, you want a comparator. That should be facing into it, but up here, the comparator should be facing away. That comparator also should be toggled on as it detects this copper bulb as being on. Next, place 3 blocks like I have. Break this middle block and replace it with a hopper that is funneling into this block. You can go ahead and break those 2 blocks. And also from this hopper, you want 2 droppers that are facing upwards. Just like that. Next, on top of the hopper, place a piece of Netherack. And you're also going to want 3 temporary blocks that I have. Break this middle block, and we're going to get a minecart with Hopper into that piece of Netherack. So what we're going to do is place 2 rails here, the minecart on top, and just going to nudge that in. It should be into the Netherack. You go ahead and break all these blocks, and then place a slab on that side. You also want to go ahead and break this glass block, and you're going to place a comparator there instead, facing into this block. And coming off that block, you're going to want a redstone torch. Coming off that torch, place a block and then a slab coming off the block. You go ahead and break this block and place 3 more blocks coming down this way. You can put redstone on all of those blocks. And then you can go ahead and place your regular minecart in the minecart with Hopper. Next, place 3 blocks as I have. Break these 2 blocks. And then place a block here with an observer facing up into that block. Break the block and replace it with a comparator. That comparator should be reading any signal from this hopper. Then you can go ahead and place 4 slabs coming off this way. With the block coming off the slabs, you can place redstone on top of all that. Then come to these droppers, place 2 blocks here with an observer facing into that redstone and an observer facing into that observer as well. So just like that. On top of this observer, you want a redstone torch, and on top of this one, you want a piece of redstone dust. And now pile up 2 more droppers, 2 more blocks, and do that same thing. So place an observer facing into that torch, observer facing into that observer, torch above this observer, piece of redstone, and then pile up. You're going to do this until you run out of droppers. Once you've placed down your 9th dropper, you're going to place a piece of redstone dust here. And on top of that dropper, place a dispenser. And then on top of that dispenser, place a rail. Next, place an observer facing into the torch with 4 blocks extending this way. You can go ahead and break this block. Place a piece of redstone on top of that observer. And you want 2 comparators on 4 ticks right there. Next, place 4 blocks coming down this way with 3 pieces of redstone dust, a redstone repeater on 3 ticks, and an additional redstone dust there. Place a block on top of that redstone dust, that way those 2 dusts are not connecting. And that's my bad, you actually want this on 2 ticks. And then you're going to have a sticky piston on that block and another one on top of that. And that should be the entire item elevator completed. All you have to do to test this is break the comparator that was over here, and also break this redstone dust. That should send the minecart all the way up. It should be dispensed and then drop down. Make sure you place that redstone dust and also the comparator that you had broke over here. And just to finish this off, we're going to place a slab here with a piece of glass there, and then place 2 pieces of redstone dust on that. And to actually create the clock, we're going to place 6 cobwebs coming up here. You don't want to place one next to this dispenser or right on top of the Netherack. And you want to light the Netherack on fire. You also want to real quickly add a piece of glass here. But before that, it's really important that you wax this copper bulb as well. And that should more or less be the farm completed. How this works is you'll press this button, which will then toggle this copper bulb off. This comparator will detect that, which will then send this redstone clock going. Once the clock has finished its cycle, it's going to toggle this copper bulb off, which will send a tick to these observers, which will then dispense water and put out the fire that's in there. This repeater will allow another tick to go by and the dispenser to pick up the water. This system will have lava flow that'll take about 5 seconds. That'll allow the allays to fully regen so they don't die from the lava. Once it reaches that observer, the campfire is then relit. And that's just going to keep cycling through. What happens here is when the system is toggled on, this copper bulb will turn off, the comparator will then turn off, which will unlock this hopper, allowing the minecart to come through. It'll travel all the way up and start about a 3-minute timer coming down all the cobwebs. Each time it completes the cycle, this hopper will detect it and send a signal, which will then dispense another bottle of infestation. What that comparator does is detects if there are any bottles of infestation. If there are, it'll turn off this torch, which will then allow for this hopper to be easily unlocked. However, if there are not any bottles of infestation left, this will ultimately stop the clock, and that way you will know when the farm is almost done. And that is the basics of the farm. And why this farm is better than other designs is because not only is it fully automatic, but other designs that I've seen have used splash bottles of water to get rid of the fire, but I found that if you place a water source right above the campfire, it puts it out anyway. Also, these clocks are able to make this fully automatic, and really the only player input you need is to press this button. To use this farm, you're going to climb up the ladder, and first you're going to come to this chest and fill it up with as many potions of infestation that you want to. Now, it is good to note that you should only fill it up with the amount that you want to AFK for and not go over in any way. So say you want to AFK for about 9 minutes, you only want to fill it up with about 3 bottles of infestation. But next you're going to come down to here and into this barrel where you're going to place all the flint and steel. That'll just allow the campfire to be lit on and off. Next you can come back down the ladder, climb up this ladder, turn on the Trident killer, and finally click this button. Immediately you should see that this campfire is set on fire and that the Allays are now infested. These 2 Magma Blocks there will immediately want the Silverfish to be kicked out, and they'll drop back into the Trident killer. And as you can see, my XP levels are going up super fast. Now of course, with the more Allays you have in there, the more XP you'll be getting. And as you can see in here, items are funneling into here, and also that minecart is slowly falling. Now once all the items have gone through, as you'll see in a second, the campfire is put out and the Allays are given time to regen. As you've seen, I've already gotten over 30 levels in no time. And when you plan on turning the farm off, I do recommend waiting till that minecart is done and that all your potions have run out. As you can see in this dispenser, I have no more potions. And typically, once that minecart gets all the way down, that's when these Allays will run out of the infestation potion. And you can also easily know if you've run out of potions if you look at that comparator, or if you look at this redstone. If that redstone torch is on, then you have ran out of potions. And this line of redstone up here should also be on. Also, Silverfish should not be able to escape the farm, but if it does, you're just going to want to place magma blocks along the top instead of this glass, just so they die and kind of block off that top area. The minecart will break into an item before it's picked up by the minecart hopper. And with that done, in just a little bit, you'll see that these guys will no longer spew out any more silverfish. And there you see that they are burning and no silverfish are coming out. So now, this is when you want to turn off the farm. To do that, you're going to click this button, and sometimes you'll have to wait till that lava finishes flowing and then this campfire lights again. And when that happens, you want to click this button to dispense water, and that'll pick it back up. And then you're going to turn off the Trident killer, and that's how you turn the farm on and off. So basically, sometimes when you turn it off, the redstone block is here and then it's moved to this area, which then toggles all this redstone and then sets the lava either flowing or it gets rid of the lava. All you want to do is just wait for that observer to detect when the lava gets there or leaves, because that observer will then set the fire off again. And all you want to do is click that button so it dispenses water and the fire is no longer there when you leave the farm. So yeah, this farm works insanely well and gives you so much XP. It is probably the best farm in Minecraft Bedrock. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope you build this farm for yourselves. It honestly is a free giveaway for XP, guys, and anyone should be able to build this. Let me know if there's anything that needs to be fixed up with this farm, or if you have any suggestions. I'll see you guys in the next video.